Another day working on the Mog. Today we're hopefully going to get the cab tilted today. So what I bought is dual action ram, the mounting sensors, the centre to centre of the mounts on the Mog from factory. So you've got the one in there, and then the bottom one is down here, which I've machined down to the right size. They're 590mm centre to centre. Now this ram, the nearest I could get was 570. It's a dual action, so it'll pump it up and pump it back down. And then I got the pump for it here, and a couple of hoses that I just had made up at the local shop. And altogether it's cost me just short of £300 for the whole setup, so I don't think it's too bad. So I've machined that bottom pin just so that it'll take the 20mm eyelet on the ram. Not sure why, but Mercedes made it so that this top mount is designed for a 20mm pin, but the bottom one was designed for a 25mm eyelet. Honestly, I had to buy their ram that had two different pinholes. But I didn't want to get a custom ram made, obviously, because they're a lot more expensive. So I've just machined that bottom one down so that it'll take a 20mm eyelet now. So ram on there, and then, because this isn't going to be permanently left on, it's just going to be while I'm tilting, and I'll take it off when I'm not. So what I'm going to do is the actual pump box. Has got 4 M8 mounting holes here. So I'm just thinking maybe, because this, obviously that top step tilts with the cab, this one doesn't, so I'm going to make something just so that it can just sit on here, maybe a couple of L brackets or something just to hold it in position while it's pumped up. That bottom pin was 25mm, but I've now made it just under 20. Well, near enough 20. But what I've done is I got a 25mm hole saw. So that's designed, so obviously that's going to make a 25mm hole, but internally it's about 20mm internally. So when you drill it down that existing pin, just give it a pilot it beforehand. Pilot it just to get the bit started. Once it's started, you can just take the pilot out, and then this just ran all the way down. I'll put a little video on showing it cutting it, and it seemed to do real nice actually. So that's a 25mm cutter, roughly 20mm internal. I'll do. Get a bigger washer to go on that. Maybe a square plate. And then when the ram's stood on, put your bolt in. Doesn't need to be tight even, just because you want a bit of movement so your ram eyelet can move a bit on the pin. But at least you know it's not going to slide off on you. So because this has got the right pinhole sizes and it's the right centre to centre near enough of the mounts, I'm going to have to machine this down because the mount is for a 40mm outside diameter. This is a 50, so I need to cut this down so it's about 40. So what I'm going to do is, like I did the pin, I'm going to give it a pilot. It's got a nice centre mark already on it to go on, and then I'm going to run that down it, that cutter there, which is about 48mm internal diameter, and then I'll run this one down 44, run that down as well, and that's internally about 40mm, so hopefully that'll leave me not too far off. So I've done it with 51mm cutter. Gone down it quite nicely actually. Just take it steady. Keep giving it a spray of some cutting fluid. I'm going to go down it again now. I'm going to go down it with the, what's this one, 44 I think it is. I'm going to go down with this 44 now. Take another layer off. Hopefully that'll leave us about 40mm. So I'm going to put down that now with second cutter. You can see it's just like left a shroud on the outside of it. So all I'll do now is I'll just go around here with the grinder, get this outer piece off, and see what it looks like. Go around that with the grinder, so it gets that outer shroud off. So now if I'm just going to put a grinding disc in the grinder, and I'm just going to go around this edge here, just flatten it all down, clean it up a bit. There we are, giving it a clean up. Didn't look too bad. It's not bang on its centre, but it's because the bits have moved around a bit. You know, centre at ram. it'll do for me. So I'll give it a quick coat of primer just so it don't rust. So we're getting there. Ram's gone on to the bracket nicely, and managed to slide the pin through nice and easily. So what I've got to alter now is at the other end of the ram, down here. You can just see when you lift that, when you lift the ram up now to put it on at this end, just needs a little bit taking off that side of the end. See, I could force it on, it'd go on, but then it's going to be tight at the top. So I'm just going to trim a little bit off that cylinder end, and then it should go on nice and easily. Giving that a trim down, ground it flat again, and just giving it a coat of primer. So almost ready to put it on. The centre from this mount to this mount on the Mog is 590mm, and this, as it is sat now, is 570mm. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rig up the pump and the hoses, and I'm just going to give it a little pump just to pull this out another 20mm, get it sat as close to 590 as I can. Fill the box up with a bit of oil. Take that off. Just going to put a bit of 32 in. Just going to add some kicking about. That'll do the job. Nice and steady. That's the hoses on into the cylinder. So now I've got to give that a little pump now and get this centre to centre opened up a bit. Get as close to 570 as we can, 590 sorry, as we can. Right, I've given it a full cycle both ways, just to try and get rid of as much air out of the cylinder as I can. If there's loads of air in it, it's just really, really jerky. It's hard to get what you want out of it in little increments. So if I measure that now, that is as near to 590 as I'm going to get, I think. So if I can get it onto the truck. Right, well, it's on. It looks all right. So I've got this, if I can get the camera in there. The ram's sat in the top one with its pinned through. And I've got an eye pin at the other side to stop that coming out. And then down at the other end, I've got where I tapped it, So I've just put a square plate on just to make sure it doesn't slide off even out, and that bolt's nipped in. But I've left it so it can still move a bit on the pin, so it's not grabbed. So it's got a bit of movement if it needs it as it goes up. So next thing now is to just figure out something quickly. Don't need to be anything too elaborate, just to pin this down to the step here, and that'll give me a good sturdy mount for pumping it up. Right, well, I've got that fastened onto the step. Some bits there in garage. Just a right angle bracket, a few bolts, what have you. Job, solid enough, pumping it up. So what I'll do is I'll get the next bolts out of the cab. In here you've got one here, one at the front there, and then you've got the same over on the driver's side as well, if you're in UK obviously. Right, I think we're ready to tilt now, so I've got them 4 bolts out, 2 at the other side as well, and then the only other thing that we've done ready to tilt it is we've took the main air hose off from here over to airbox, because obviously the box tilts with the cab and the engine done, and that's it. So we'll just we'll try and tilt it now. We'll just have to keep an eye on all the cables that are on the bonnet to make sure nothing gets snagged. That's your other 2, bolt under there, and then one behind your pedals there. Right, so it goes. And I forgot to mention that this one here that goes from the airbox to the compressor needs to come off as well. Right, that's pumped up, and I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to make a safety bar obviously before I work underneath it. Came up nice and easy actually. These mud guards are only 2 bolts, and that whole guard comes off, so that'll take all this out of your way as well then. So I'm going to do that on both sides. There was a couple of bits that looked like they might snag. These hoses and cables here just on the back of the coolant bottle there, but obviously they shouldn't really be dangling anyway, they should be in here. And something else that I forgot to mention as well actually, just before I pumped it, if you look down there you've got the steering shaft. You can just see that shaft there, look, where it's pulled out. So when you tip it back down, obviously you need to make sure that that goes back in properly. And what I did before I tilted it that I also forgot to mention was, if I can just zoom in a bit and show you it. Let's get this to focus, stupid thing. You can just see I put a white mark on it there and there in the hope that I can use them 2 white marks to line it back up when it goes back in. So if we go around this side now here, so there's the ram. Loads of room. Look how easy that is now to get into that centre console bit. It's going to be a right dream boat. Getting there to find all the leaks and everything now, so much easier. Can also fix the leak on that power steering fluid reservoir that was hard to get to from the front. And then I just had a thought, if I was to see that 25mm pin down there, the one that I machined down there to 20mm, if I was to weld another one of them onto, say, that bracket there, then I could put a safety bar in here now, disconnect the end of that, put it onto a new pin, and then pump it again to take it right over, which is something that I think I'll look at doing. But no, I'm really chuffed with that. Right, I'm going to pump it back down now. So I'm just going to guide in that steering shaft that I marked up with the marker, and just see how easy it goes down, but I think it'll be a doddle. And that's it, back down. Nothing under the bonnet tried to snag that time. I'll just shove them put them cables back to the other side of the expansion tank cap, and I just guided that back in. Steering rack, steering column, if you like, so it's back on its paint marks. And that was it. Excellent. Well, that's it. Pretty successful, I reckon. I'm definitely going to look at this pin. I'm going to make a pin, so you take that bolt out, and you slide a pin in while it's up, so that you can jack again, and you got your 400mm stroke again, so you can have this right over. Yeah, really happy with that. I'll put a link in the description to all the bits that I've bought. I mean, it's worked alright as this, everything clamped down, but I wouldn't have minded another bracket, make it a little bit better. But I mean, you could even put, I did think I might just swap these for quick connectors, hydraulic quick connectors, and then you could just leave this ram on, and then, you know, you could just have your hoses in your box in the back with you while you're away or whatever, and then if you do have a serious problem under there, you know that 10 minutes and you've got cab tilted, no worries. Yeah, I'll put a link in the description to all bits. Cheers.